This pretty good coverage is brought to you by Power Grip, the official retail partner of the European Pro Tour.
Hello and welcome to coverage of the 2023 Estonian Open, the third stop of the European Pro Tour. This is round 1 front 9 FPO feature card coverage brought to you by MDG Media. It was a little bit cold, hovering around 10 degrees, but with mild winds, still some great scoring conditions, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. My name is Connor Wood, and with me, Johan Walstam.
Hello everyone, happy to be back in the booth. Let's see what these ladies can do out here.
Yeah, getting our feature card started, Tinja Väisänen, second showing here on MDG coverage. She's shown a strong game, and I'm excited to have her joining us today.
And coming up, we have a regular feature here, Anneli Tõugjas-Männiste. She is first currently in the EPT ranking out of Estonia. This is probably a course she's played a few times before, sponsored out of Discmania Discs.
Keiti, Tätte, the next member joining this feature card, sitting at 937 rated. She started her season over in the United States. This is her first showing here in Europe for the season, and I'm excited to see how that translates today.
And finally we got Elina Rydberg out of Sweden, currently rated 880. She's number 7th in the EPT number 2, and sponsored out of Clash Discs. Excited to see what her game looks like.
And we start here on hole 1. Par 3, 85 meters. This is an island hole. Really going to test your nerves as well as your touch, as you want to try and hit the island, stick it as close as possible, and make your putt. There is a tree on the left side within the island that can obstruct a putt if you do end up under there, but for the most part you can throw your favorite shot, backhand hyzer, forehand hyzer, straight shot, whatever works for you. A great way to get your round started.
This should also be noted, this is a hazard island, so you do not go OB, you have to putt where it lands. And also we got a raised basket here, so it's a tricky starting hole. As Tinja here looks a bit low left, and she will end in that hazard.
We see a slight tailwind here, likely going to be pushing these hyzer release angle discs down, perhaps causing them to fade a touch more than usual. We see Anneli with more height and a bit wider right. As that gets pushed down, she is right up there. She might have that tree to contend with, but a great shot regardless.
Yeah, I'm sure she can straddle out a little bit there to find a line. As we see Keiti Tätte, first drive here. Looks like this one turned up a little bit too much, and she will also unfortunately land in that hazard. And our singular non-Estonian player here on the card, Elina, throws a hyzer down the middle.
Tinja is from Finland,
also,
to be fair.
Oh, sorry.
At the Estonian Open, no worries.
yeah.
And she also comes up a little bit short. You mentioned the hazard, and we see from here, too far to honestly give it a run, as the comeback putt could even be more severe. She looks to be taking a short putt for four, and Tinja looking like she wanted to give it a bid, gets a bit of a catch, and that's an example of that tester putt coming back now.
Yeah, this is a tough one to start out the round with, really testing your nerves here. But she delivers. That's a solid bogey save there. Can't be too upset about that one. She went for it each time. And we see Anneli here getting in her birdie. Great way to start a round.
And you were right, she could straddle to have an open look, free stroke, nothing in her way. Really solid start for Anneli, showing why she's been such a mainstay on these feature and lead cards this season in FPO. Keiti now.
Also, it's
the turbo.
Oh, the flipper.
Hey, why not?
I haven't quite seen that.
It is
before.
in. She has a smile on her face. If you're having a good time on the course, you're doing something right.
I wonder if that was intentional not to give it that triple backflip on the way in, but definitely had some style points there for sure.
Well, hey, the scorecard doesn't show how you put it in.
That's true. Moving on to hole 2. What do we have?
Hole 2, par 3, 112 meters. tunnel on the beginning. You have a series of tree gaps that you want to hit as the fairway begins to bend quite strongly to the left. Most players will opt for this most inside gap. You can try one of the more rightwards ones, but you really don't want to go too straight off the tee shot. You want a high hyzer release that fights around the corner and tries to penetrate into this well-guarded green. You have OB left side the whole way, as well as long behind the green, so you need to be careful to control your entry angle.
Hole number 2 already showing this course's teeth here. You need a big hyzer to get all the way there. As you see, Anneli taking that big backhand hyzer route. And she's in the fairway. We'll see how aggressive these players get here, as this was playing as one of the harder holes on the day. Might just want to try to take a 3 here.
Tinja looked a little bit straight there. We didn't see that final finish leftwards, but looked to be low enough that she likely got some ground play. Similar line for Keiti here, who finds a tree but settles nicely in the fairway.
And finally, Elina here. She goes more of the right side path here. Gets through the initial trees there, but finds the one after that. She will have an open look towards the basket here.
Yeah, and you can see just how far left you need to go off the tee. Really tricky to make your way up to putting off the first. Very common spot where these ladies are, as they will now have... Look at this scramble approach from, I believe, Tinja. Finds herself a bit short, still likely a approach or jump putt.
Looked like she was going for a bit of a flex there, which just a tad bit low. And here's another backhand approach here, also going for a bit of a flex play, trying to hyzer in on that right side. She finds herself within the circle, might have a few branches in the way there.
Keiti now just a touch further than the last two, closer to the pin. And she looks to get a soft skip, and she sneaks right through those trees. She'll be just outside bullseye for her putt.
Yeah, it's a great approach there. As we see this long outside putt here. Gives it a bid, gives it the right height. Was just a bit early out left.
And Elina now for her par save. Very nice. Strong side, a little bit low, but finds it just in the heart. No problem at all.
Yeah, good par there. Getting a par here is no problem really, as that's what the majority of the field got as well, if not worse.
Yeah, given how tight the gaps are, how many trees, the severe leftwards angle of the fairway. Oh, Keiti looks like it just stuck to the finger as it comes out low from the hand. She has a similar distance on the way back now.
See if we can make the correction here. Again, it comes out a little early. Perhaps some tournament jitters here. Sometimes it can be hard to find that putting stroke early in the round.
And on coverage, that can contribute if there are cameras. But I think she'll be fairly used to it by now. Definitely a well-known player. She's played before with these cameras. As we see Tinja with a short bogey putt.
And a final tap in for the double bogey. Tough start, but it's also a tough course.
We move on to beautiful hole 3, par 3, 146 meters. This elevated tee provides you with a long open shot into this field with OB right and left. You need to, for the right-handed backhand throwers, you need to push this tree line on the right side as close as possible, trying to do a long fighting hyzer, slight hyzer flip, or if you're going to lean on more stability, a slight flex. This is a really tough one to get all the way there while staying away from the tree line and OB, but a really great hole.
Yeah, coming out of the woods, you can really let one rip here. We got a nice downhill. This will be all about getting that good shape, using that natural downwards elevation to your advantage. See Anneli here going for that big hyzer. Doesn't seem to be going for anything aggressive here. It is a long distance. She might just be going safer, going hyzer approach and tapping.
Yeah, really huge par 3 at 146 meters. It is slightly downhill, but still playing all of about 130 with a good line. So we see Elina get a little bit more turn and flight out of that, but still short of that OB tree line. She will have no problem there, an open up shot.
Yeah. Going for a similar hyzer line here. Biting off more than half of the fairway. She will have a nice open look for a 3.
Keiti pushing a little bit more aggressively, flipping it up to flat and then getting some fade. All of these competitors still with a short upshot. Let's see how they opt to go about this. We see Anneli playing the backhand hyzer, looks a little bit high.
I think she's left herself on circle's edge there. As well, it is close. It's certainly no gimme here. Landing up the forehand, looks good. That nice spike angle to not get too much ground play.
Tinja with more of a straight line to soft hyzer finish. She skips right up into the circle as well, about 7 meters out for her par putt.
And Keiti with the longest drive. She'll have the shortest upshot here. Just a nice little forehand chip shot. She found the bullseye.
Very routine. Shows the risk reward of trying to push that tree line and getting more distance off the drive. A much more stress-free approach. Elina almost finding that one. Just whispering past the chains.
Anneli up here for her par. She's a well-known solid putter. Once she gets going, she can definitely be a very aggressive putter taking on long distances.
Tinja there, making sure to find her par. She hops off the bogey train. Another turbo from Keiti, and I think that answers your question from hole 1. That also had that flip.
Yeah, why not? That's how my turbo looks like.
Whether it's intentional or not.
It might look a bit janky, but it does go straight towards the basket. So if it works, it works.
She's making it work, exactly. We move on to hole 4. The first par 4 of the course at 154 meters. This is a curving, heavily wooded fairway. You see you shoot through this initial gap as you want to try and beat this first layer of trees. The fairway then begins to bend softly to the left where you have even more trees. The second gap that you also, if with a really good first shot, can hit, but mostly you'll see on the second shot coming through here. As you then bend back to the right, you have more trees and more gaps to hit, trying to approach this final green that is nice and open if you can hit all the gaps. Good potential here for rollers if you choose to get aggressive.
And this did come in as the easiest hole on the day, surprisingly to me, as I see a lot of trees and a long fairway. But it is 154 on a par 4, so not too much distance. There was a lot of pars here, so that's one of the reasons why also. See here, it hits an early tree, and that will be a bit of trouble. It does look fairly open there, so she might be able to just pitch up or grab a low distance on the fairway, as we see Keiti here. Flips one up down the middle. Gets tangled up in the trees right down there in the middle.
Elina now will see if she can make the correction and get a full flight. She goes on that left side. She's beginning to fade towards the tree line, and she will also be scrambling from the rough.
We see it going for the spike hyzer, trying to get into center fairway. Looks like she got a little bit caught up there.
But she's in a fine spot now to attack. Try to get some more distance, but that's a little bit too low to get the full flight. And she will still have some distance to the green.
Yeah, she will get an open shot from there, but yeah, you definitely want to get a bit more. As we see a forehand roller here. Looks like that one curled out left early. Oh, it's still going.
It's still going. It stood up. I think quite a stable disc for the roller, actually.
Very nice. She'll have a long look there, maybe a throw-in potential. See Anneli here going for a steep Anheuser backhand. That's... We don't know where that ended up. We'll find out soon. As we see Elina here going for the forehand straddle out. She puts herself in center fairway, and that's the best she could do from that spot right there.
Oh, and Anneli now needing to get through that second tree line. Finds one of them. She will now have a short hyzer backhand to the green.
It does
She'll
look...
be wanting to hit this one cleanly. Oh,
yeah,
she's caught up again.
The hyzer did not look so clean there. There's a lot of branches and trees on the right there. I think you do want to go for this lower line here. And she looks like she put herself well in the circle there.
And you can see from these umbrellas coming out, there was a mild rain at this point in the round. While pretty light, can definitely contribute to some grip or footing issues.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Just even thinking about your grip and footing can affect your gameplay. So, ooh, that looked like a solid run there.
Yeah, I think after scrambling, she wanted to try and give that one a chance. Anneli from deep, just a bit left.
Solid attempt there, and yeah, you can just see the body English on when they're picking up their wet disc from the ground that it is a bit wet and muddy at the moment.
And a soft chain out as we see some short putts now remaining. We have Anneli, I believe, for a bogey save.
And that's our double bogey.
Unfortunate. That's right. She hit the tree on the second that got her caught up for the third, where she also hit the tree. Shows the difficulties of some of these tight wooded gaps. I think experience in the woods is a significant factor for these players coming in. We've played already Belgium and Copenhagen, both of which have some significantly wooded courses so far in the European Pro Tour. Keiti with the patented turbo.
And the only par of our card as well. Shows you how hard even this hole that was scored as the easiest took a lot of strokes from our players today.
But we move on. Hole 5, par 3, 108 meters. A lot of options here for what line you want to throw. You have to break through this initial gap within the trees and then try to fight your way up the hill of this very sloped green. You can try to use the backboard to have an aggressive attack on your approach or putt, but you do need to worry about the roll away. Great consideration of how aggressive you want to get on your second shot or throw.
This is another one that just looks very tough. Especially for the backhand, you're going to need a very slow turnover through the gap. Shapes up a little bit better for the forehand, but then that's a big distance for a forehand thrower. As you see, Keiti here turns it over too quickly and ends up right. As that gap is quite a far away from the tee, you do need to have something on hyzer starting out and get a slow turn in order to make that distance straight.
Yeah, it's about 70 to that main gap, 70 meters of the 108 before you break through into the second half of the fairway, the open green. I like this choice. If you do have the distance, the flex forehand shapes really nicely, as you mentioned. We'll see if Elina can find the Anheuser release. I do believe this is her salt, overstable distance driver, but a bit too much Anheuser, and she grounds it, although looks to have stopped in the fairway. Lucky to not roll too far there.
Yeah, a lot of trees in the way for her approach. But let's see if Anneli here can make the correction. Also going for the flex here. She makes the gap, but that does turn also into a roller. She ends up in a similar spot, but a bit more open towards the basket. And here we are in the woods.
Yeah, great shot to see how rough that rough is, just how thick it can be at this time of year. Elina, patent pending Anheuser backhand. Very tricky, but this looks great as she... a little bit short. Doesn't quite push all the way to the hill. I thought the shape was fantastic. May have caught something on the way.
Yeah, I thought so. Out of the hand, it looked great. That's a real tricky stance and angle to get. Keiti here going for a forehand. She's outside circle. But with that uphill, it can give you a bit of confidence to have a safe run at it. And this is a bit more what we're looking for, but it does roll down a little bit.
There's the roll. Yeah, you can pitch up to the bottom of the hill and take an uphill longer putt, or you can try to settle up top, accepting the risk that you might roll away. Especially with that forehand hyzer coming in perpendicular to the slope. Unfortunately, you're much more likely to skip or roll. But good use of the height there by Elina to prevent that ground play.
Keiti gives it a run, but basket is one of the worst things to hit when you try to run it, as it sneaks right up to this photographer. She's up to go again. And it does look like she run it, but... man. I take back my statement earlier where I said it's a safe run. Clearly it's not. And here you can see a bit of that rain as well in the footage, making the conditions and the putt so much more harder. If I enlist
you do need chains or nothing, really, if you're putting. You'd rather hit no metal like that, where you sit down, rather than band or cage.
Yeah, no doubt. See here, about a 7-meter putt for a bogey save, I believe. Goes a bit right, and you can really see these players shaking off the wet, drying everything off, and that's for a double bogey. I do believe the entire card here, except for Anneli, got a bogey or higher. And if I am not mistaken, this should be for par. Oh, I am mistaken.
Bogey. Yeah, her approach rolled down to the bottom. It was her par putt, which we saw sit down. She taps in for bogey as well. Here you see hole 6. A tight gap about 40 meters off the tee. You want to push forwards and then let the disc fade. This 182 meter par 4, a very unique shape which you saw from the drone shot above. As you try to hit this initial gap and then fade hard to the left, good shots will land right about here. After that, you need to contest with this last island of trees guarding the green. As you get around or over them, you then have the basket tucked away that you can try to attack. Really unique hole, and a lot of ways to attack it on the second shot. The first is very much placement. The second is where you make your money.
Yeah, I'm curious what kind of shapes you're going to go for here. It is quite a long par 4 for a wooded course. So they're going to have to be very accurate here if they want to have a good score. And that turned over a little too quickly, too early. Couldn't quite see where that ended up, but it did look like it was fading towards the fairway.
This looks like a much nicer angle for Anneli, but still turning over. She had that soft hyzer release. Beautiful shot. She uses all of the length of the fairway available to her and gets a ton of distance.
Yeah, great shot there, and that's what you really need on this hole. It looks like you want a full shape, and that's just turned over too early once again. Let's see if Keiti can make the correction. And it looks like she does, but does have enough turn.
Yeah, that's fine. A really good shot there. She can choose the backhand or forehand approach from that position. That's exactly where you want to be. You can go pretty early to the left, and it's often quite forgiving. As long as you beat that first gap.
Oh.
Tinja finds some trouble. We see her still throwing now. Big high hyzer. She's looking to swing it back into the fairway. We'll see where she is relative to that last guardian island of trees. Elina also now with a similar line.
Looks good out of the hand. Can be tricky to follow these discs in these kind of U-shaped holes. So we'll see. Oh my goodness.
Lethal with the forehand. Anneli, unfortunate ground play to roll outside the circle, but gave it a legitimate bid from the fairway for eagle. She will have just outside the circle putt for birdie.
Yeah, great shot there. Let's see another bullseye shot there. Well done, Keiti. She does look like she has a reliable forehand approach shot, and she also gets it within 5 meters. That's what you want to do here.
Yeah, that's how you play the hole. Keiti just totally dissecting it into 2 clean shots and a short putt for birdie soon. Elina opting for the backhand entrance to the green. She goes long. She is about 16 meters. Still deep circle 2 with a obstructed look.
Yeah, and here is that look. That's a long jump putt to make. Let's see if she can give it a good putt here. And it looks like the timing was just a little bit off there. Happens sometimes when you try to power up, the timing becomes that much more harder. But she has a fairly easy tap in from there.
Anneli, though, from circle 2, finding her second birdie of the round here on hole 6 with a great putt.
Yeah, great putt there. You love to see the throw-in attempt for your eagle and then getting the birdie afterwards. And having watched her play in the Belgium Open, I do know she does have that aggressive play style. She goes for every single birdie or more that she can. So great to see out of her.
Keiti with the turbo tap in for her birdie, making it look easy, finding the 3.
Yeah, first birdie of the round.
Yeah, great point. She'll try to battle back a little bit after some early bogeys.
And the triple bogey. I believe she went out of bounds, and then that errant upshot it racks up quickly out here.
Yeah, it absolutely can. We move on to hole 7, par 3, 109 meters. This is an uphill tee shot with a low ceiling, and about halfway through the fairway, right about here, a pretty steep drop off. As you crest over the fairway, you have to control your height as you find this basin green to attack into. You want to try and land nice and soft. The best shots here are often straight, highs are flipping up to flat and landing flat, as any severe skip or fade can find you in some trouble. Really particular shot shape you have to make here.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that backhand turnover here. Looks good. Does it come back in time? And just outside the circle. That's a great result there.
Yeah, I think if not for that last branch, she would have been really close. But a fine shot. She's already shown her circle 2 putting prowess. Keiti low out of the hand. She does not crest the hill. But that's surprisingly common because you really just need to go about a foot or 2 over that crest. You don't want to go any higher. You just want to match the slope and let it fade over the hill. Tinja here a little bit overcooked on the right side rough.
Yeah, see Elina here. This looks good if it does get over the crest. And I believe it was just slightly too low there, but the line did look good. She's up to approach here.
And I think this is a situation where you can kind of give it a run. She's hung this one out a bit wide, but with the hill directly left and not much risk of roll away, given that it's just a soft hill. Can be one that you can choose to attack if you want to. Tinja does not.
The ground looks fairly hard here, so you definitely want to give it a bit more of a straight low shot to slide up on there, as these hyzers can get some ground play. Keiti, however, goes for the hyzer, gets a nice roll towards the basket. And Anneli with the birdie chance. And the slight roll away. Slightly uncomfortable, but not too bad. Good run from her.
Yeah, you've mentioned that she does not like to give up birdie chances. She is one to run them. Keiti off the top. A little bit slow out of the hand. She hung on to that one. She's now with the comeback putt.
Yeah.
For bogey. There you go.
Good save there. You can see the players doing a lot of adjustments on their grip. Might be a bit wet out there, but you can see the flag is absolutely still there. There's almost zero wind out here, so comfortable in that regard at least.
Anneli with a safe par. Elina now to do the same. And she finds it nicely. Something which you touched on is these hard-packed greens. Very common here in this course. Something that we're going to see on a lot of these holes. Very hard-packed earth, sparse grass. Very common to see ground play on these greens. They're very fast.
Yeah, maybe the rain softened it up a little bit for them. But yeah, this is common in the European woods during the summer, for sure.
Here you see hole 8, a 156 meter par 4. You have a small initial gap to hit. As you pass through it, the fairway then begins to bend left, sloping softly downwards, setting up for a straight or hyzer shot through the last guardians. As you try to crest around this corner, you still have a series of gaps to hit, and then you have a softly sloped green through these last trees. Really nice hole. Very similar where the first one's about placement. Second one is where you really want to put it close.
Yeah, definitely. The first shot, looks like you need a distance driver to get that placement shot though, so definitely going to be a tricky. I'm expecting to see more backhand turnovers. You don't want too much action left or right here, as the gap is fairly tight.
I think you can try to go hyzer to flat and get through. As Anneli almost sneaks through the left side. She got still quite some distance. Obviously that was a bit too far left, but I'm not sure if you want too much flip here. We'll see Tinja now try to correct.
Yeah, you might be right there, as these players look like they are just going for a big hyzer to get around that bend.
It's about 75 and 75 meters each shot. So you can even disc down to mid-range or fairway if you're comfortable with that sort of disc off the tee. For some people with a lot of power, maybe even an overstable putter.
And Elina.
Wow.
Pierce the fairway. Gets way down there. Great shot. Let's see if Keiti can replicate that.
She can miss that one tree, and she does. That is also a picture-perfect drive, even past Elina's.
And you can see that's the 50-meter stake that she landed her just beforehand, so she'll have a fairly easy up and down there for a birdie.
Tinja on the early right side still needed to fight around that corner, blind to the basket. She has pitched up a good distance up there, likely playing for par now, and Anneli the same. Finding some early trouble, pitches back out into an open look.
Yeah, smart pitch out there. She'll need a good shot here to save her par.
Oh, and that's a great shot.
Another great shot there. Pierce the fairway as well. And Elina, after that great drive, had the birdie chance right there in front of her, but just releases the disc slightly early. And Keiti puts it in the circle. She'll have her second birdie chance of the round.
Tinja now. This is her third. She wants to put it close to try and save par. She has a putt, for sure. She will be looking to find that one.
Yeah,
No
that
doubt.
looks about 12 meters outside circle. Let's see if Elina chooses to run this or not. Birdie's on the table. Just hyzers out a little bit too early there, but she'll have a fairly easy par putt there.
Tinja now to save her par after some tricky scrambling. This would go a long way. A little bit low, and you see the frustration there. Understandably so. Slight downhill putt just outside the circle. Definitely one you can attack. Keiti now. For birdie. There you go.
Cashes it in. That's a great one to pick up after great drive, great approach, and puts in a confident putt there. That's going to be a motivation, confidence booster there.
Yeah, and she looks to be finding her stride a little bit after some initial struggles. Keiti looking like she's beginning to put things together now. Elina with a solid par save. Great tee shot, but unfortunate approach on the second. With her third, she makes sure to put it close and secure a birdie. A little dispute there about who's further away.
Yeah, players making sure to do in the right order.
Hey, might seem like a small detail, but rules are rules.
That's true, but it might also be one of the most broken rules in this golf.
I think there's sort of a unwritten agreement between a lot of the top players that if it is just a tap in, no worries, please feel free, but right on that edge of a tap in, like 4 meters, something that's not quite 3 or less, but kind of towards 5, it can be very ambiguous.
Yeah, no doubt.
Here, to round out this front 9, hole 9, par 4, 150 meters. You have a immediate tunnel shot that you want to throw about 80 meters on. If you do, you can hit this sweet landing spot right about here for an ideal second shot. The fairway bends roughly 90 degrees to the left, and then you have a downhill approach shot through more trees, more gaps, to, as normal, a heavily guarded basket with a fast green. Very good hole to try and find the birdie, very attackable, but you can also very quickly take a big number.
Yep, as is in the case for many of these long wooded holes. But this one is scoring right in the middle of difficulty, just scoring slightly below par. So this is definitely one they have an opportunity to pick up. As Keiti's up first here. Just a bit low and a bit right. It does look fairly tight here.
Yeah, it is a very pure tunnel shot that you need to hit off the tee. Anneli fading a little bit early here. I think she disked up, was looking for a soft skip around the corner, if I had to guess. We'll see Elina now.
She can sneak past these trees. A gentle little kick, another little kick, and she's center fairway.
Some tree love there. Tinja shaping what looked to be a very soft flex. Also begins to fade a touch early. As we'll see, I don't think any of them have a super clean shot on the second to the green, so we'll see what sort of shots they can manufacture from their lies.
Yep. Seeing the high hyzer. Comes a bit on the right side there, but she's not far from the basket. She can get up and down for par. Anneli here. Looked like a bit of a pitch up there.
For sure. I think she's just trying to position herself for a safe par. She's having a pretty good round so far, and no reason to get crazy here in round 1. Keiti kicks off to the left side rough. Very thick over there. I think she's still close enough to the fairway to straddle back into it, but unfortunate result.
Now here we see Elina. Best drive of the group, and she continues getting tree love. Incredible. And that's the second
Nice
hole
result.
where she had the best drive, but a bit of a struggle approach. She did get lucky there, but she's doing the hard work and then struggling a bit for the easier shot to get the birdie. But definitely within range to score her birdie there.
And we see Anneli there leading this card. She also hit a tree on the approach, leaving her, I believe, just outside the circle for her par save. This is Tinja's third shot. She floats it up there just at the edge of circle. She will have a look for her par as well.
Alright, what can Keiti pull out here? Pulls this fairly hard, but lands in a good spot, gets a friendly roll, and she'll be about 7 meters out.
Here's Anneli for par. She fires past it with a short putt back for bogey now, likely looking to be +2 at the end of this front nine.
And that's what's nice about being confident of putting in circle 1, is you can really run those circle 2 putts with some heat and the right height. As we see Tinja here getting a good par. And Elina for birdie. She gets it. First of the round. And that's gonna feel good after having a few good drives, but just not being able to capitalize on them. She finally gets a little bit of green on her scorecard.
Keiti securing her par after that scramble shot. And yeah, it can be one of the most frustrating feelings in disc golf when you're throwing really well but just unable to translate your opportunities into birdies or even par saves. Can be difficult, so good to see Elina find her birdie here on hole 9. Anneli finding the bogey.
And there we are, finishing up the front 9. Thank you everyone for joining us. And
yeah, we'll get to take a quick look at the standings. We have leading the field Keiti Al-Salu, previous EPT winner from the season, winning Copenhagen Open just a month or two ago. Second place tied, we have Anneli and Christy at 2 over. 3 players tied at 4th, 3 over par. Still a very tight battle, obviously, after this initial front 9. Thank you for joining us. Johan, it was a pleasure. And we'll see you on the back 9.
see you there.